And then record is right in the middle. Perfect. Okay, so it appears we have a quorum tonight for the board, but our chair is not here. So your first action is to decide who would like to chair the meeting out of the 5 of you that are virtually present or one present in the room.
I think
Yes,
John,
or-
I think John should because he's been on the board the longest.
Nicely done, Jane.
Okay,
Let's see, that's one waiting in the lobby again. Sarah was here and then she left.
okay, so we're ready to go then?
Yeah, we are. Jules and Sarah, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. So then, since Vicky's not here, I'll call the meeting to order, whatever time it is now. It must be 5:30 or about that.
5:30 something to.
5:31.
There we go. That's pretty good. And first thing we had to do is approve tonight's agenda. I hope everybody has a copy of that. Are there any additions? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
And a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Now we need to approve the summary from the last meeting. Hopefully, but everybody has that. I've got that. I actually looked at it. It looks fine to me. Any additions, corrections? Nope. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, cool. All right, that moves us to community comments.
We have at least 2 groups, right? Are the 4 of you here for the same topic?
I'm with Judy and Lisa.
Okay.
Bill, yes.
John, looks like we have 2 different topics.
Okay,
We can start with who's going to speak on dogs?
I'm going to start and everybody's going to jump in.
Okay, well, let's, first of all, want to do introductions real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Judy Jennings. I'm one of the volunteers at West Linn Park. Lisa Ford.
Bill Meisenson. John Kingsborough.
I'm Ken Warner, Parks and Rec Director.
Alyssa, Parks and Rec. Wendy.
Todd Olson on the board of the Park and Rec Advisory Board.
Neil Brown. Jane, Chris, John, Sarah, and Mayor Jules Walters on video.
Take all those names down.
Great, okay. Go ahead.
Well, the purpose of our being here tonight is we wanted to introduce ourselves to the board. We are a group of volunteers from West Linn Park, particularly the dog park. We all have a passion for it, got involved with it. We have formed an advisory board. It's up to about 9 or 10 people at this point. It started off just this particular board with a survey that we did this summer of about 37, well, of exactly 36 participants in our dog park at West Linn, which is the best dog park in the area. And the survey came back with ideas about, well, the people are basically very satisfied with it, but also had some concerns from some safety standpoint and also just from some general maintenance and improvement standpoint. The board got together to talk about how we could implement some of the things that the group came up with. If anybody wants a copy of this survey report, we have copies. We'd be glad to leave them with after we leave. In terms of the safety issues, that's one of the main things that we have been talking about and working with in the few months that we've been, a couple of months that we've been together. Some of the things we've handled ourselves, like we have dogs that put holes in our ground, and we're working on we've implemented a plan where people can self-fill those holes. We've got a sign or two to put up, but other than that, we've got materials in place. William, I'm sorry, Bill, I got emails, William, so I get it.
No worries.
Bill said, you know, we have some line of sight vision problems when people are driving around our circular parking lot. You know, dogs can come out and there's bushes they can't necessarily see when they go around, line of sight issues. So in our last solve of it, we started working on that. Not finished, but we started working on that. The other issue, because of this circular driveway and our dogs that are in this open, beautiful space, happens is that we feel that we need more signage and other kinds of implements, such as some kind of speed bumps and things like that. Actually, Lisa has been on all over this issue and might want to speak a little bit about what we're hoping to do, we're thinking of doing, or trying to figure out a way to do in this park to keep our dogs safe.
I'll just jump in for a second. I was gifted some speed bumps off of Craigslist, and there's 8 of them. They're 10 inches by 35, 36 inches approximately. Didn't know if they might be able to be used for the circular parking area that's paved, because when people come around the corner, they're often going too fast and there's dogs being loaded in and out of cars. And I think we've had 3 dogs hit in the last 2 or 3 months.
We also have documentation of that from the owners.
Yes.
Yeah, there's 2 car accidents, both mine unfortunately, but same.
Dogs got hurt in one of them.
Yeah, so we're just looking at trying to make things safer for everybody, and we just thought speed bumps might be one of the solutions. And when I saw them for free on Craigslist, I jumped at it. And so if we use them, great. If we don't, that's okay too. But we need to figure out something to slow people down, to get people just to watch out for each other.
And we know, I think that, Will had mentioned, or Ken had mentioned that, the fire department has some issues with speed bumps, and we understand that's an issue, but we wanted to bring this to the group and, you know, discuss it. Maybe we could even, you know, dialogue with the fire department at some point. There's ought to be some ways to make some solutions. There have been, when we survey people, there's like, some people say we need some kind of fencing. It's a very hot issue though. People are either very much on one side of the issue or very much on the other. So we're looking for solutions that will minimize that need for having to put a solution in that 50% of the people don't want it all and other people are desperate for. We think there's middle grounds here, especially if we keep talking about it and working with it. So, but those are the main things I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was the biggest safety issue. The only, this is the you wanted to talk to you about right here, right? So you're familiar with it. So people come up from the river or from that side of the parking lot, they come out, you just see a long straightaway toward the way home, and they accelerate through. So we think the speed bumps just to slow people down as they go into there would help. The other dangerous spots on here, I mean, crossing where the kids are coming from the park out into the parking lot right there. All the crosswalks, they seem to be bad. They haven't been painted in years, and the paint's almost gone. And potentially clearing out the brush leading to those sidewalks that come into that drive, because you're coming through the woods. And if people are walking and you're doing 15, then they step out, no problem. But if the kids are running, if they're on a bicycle, they pop out of nowhere. There's no line of sight, you can't see anybody coming. So that was the other proposal, was perhaps some sign, you know, on the children crossing or something right there, paint the crosswalk so it's visible. And probably something similar right when you first come into the park, because again, no line of sight into the parking spaces right here. And when people, even if they're just doing 15 miles an hour, you come around the corner and then all of a sudden you're right on top of people on their cars. We talk about not wanting dogs to get there, don't want kids or anything else.
Sure. No, we really don't want the kids to get hit either. I think that's yeah, we should throw them in.
So not only like the speed bumps and signs and painting, but also thinning some of the brush that's in there, because it's as thick as a wall. I mean, you don't see people stepping out until they're like, you know, just right in front of you. And it's also when they're leaving the lacrosse field, it's very slippery. And we've seen people slip and basically go into the road. So that's another,
So a lot of the things we can take care of, you know, we're trimming down the bushes and stuff ourselves during the fall event. But when we're talking about the speed bumps, we need approval, then the fire department needs to give that a thumbs up and probably some help installing if that's the work, if those are the ones they would like to install. And then obviously paving those signage would be some help on there, but I think it's
And
fair.
Carrie's helping her with some of,
Sure.
us with some of that stuff. She's just been great.
So we're just trying to find some cost-effective ways to make it an immediate impact on potential safety issues.
Don, do you have anything to add?
I just came to sportsman.
Well, and that's the thing, these three people here in the room have such history. I mean, I'm a cover. I've only been going to the dog park for 3 or 4 years. These guys have got huge amounts of history with this. And it's a good group to be working with in that regard.
That's a
Thoughts or?
Right, I think it's great. I appreciate you guys looking into this, working with us, and I know that you met with Tara a week ago, I think it was maybe, to talk about these things. And I think we can, so probably the most controversial thing you've mentioned so far is speed bumps. Not only from fire department and response, and I'm not the expert, our engineers are, but I have those in my neighborhood, and we have them on the access road from Marius Young. And if you watch people, they slow down, hit them, and just accelerate after that. They really don't slow speed except for about 12 feet is my understanding. So I don't know that, I don't know that we can't do those. I don't know that they're gonna solve the problem that you have, but we can certainly look at it. I think signage makes sense. And I noticed last week and talked to our park maintenance about that. As we've gone through the storm and everything with cleanup and getting everything off the ground, that big bush thing at the entrance has taken over, and they could completely be removed. And, you know, to have a clear vision through that whole island is probably where we need to be. And I know that Don and those guys have cleared out 75% of it over the past decade, probably, because it used to be like that throughout the whole thing. But we appreciate you coming in, and I don't know if the board has any comments. I know that we have a couple that John runs there all the time. Sarah has a dog and has lived close by, so, but thank you very much.
one last comment, while we're talking about the painting, there's a handicap ramp there.
Oh, that's right.
And
Right.
most people don't know about it, that it's not painted. We do have one person in a motorized wheelchair that uses the park on a regular basis. But many people will just park right there because it's not labeled or painted.
It's really an issue.
and that's right where the water, the hose and stuff is.
Right.
So, comments and thoughts or?
Great. I'm glad you guys are there. It's nice to have a group that's, you know, going to work for the dog park. Those of us that have been working for a number of years, like with Don and our group, Dave Cruz and Dave Klinke, have been working in the park for a long time. We've kind of always wanted to have a group of people that are sort of like the dog park is ours, and we'll work on it. So I'm really, really happy to have you guys. It's a great sort of thing. Everybody loves the dog park, and we
Yeah.
want to keep everybody safe. And there was a study done not too long ago when they weren't doing youth sports, but they were just looking at people that came into the park. I think the Oregon Parks Association did this, and 50% of the people that came into the park for the dog park. So Mary S. Young is a very popular park in our city, maybe the most popular, but lots of dog owners are there. And we understand that, and it's great to have them.
Thank you.
So I can leave some paper copies of this survey if anybody has an interest in it, and I think you may have a copy of it too.
Yeah, I think, Judy, you sent it to myself and Sarah, and we can pass it to the board electronically, or since most of them aren't here anyway.
So I'll leave a couple of those.
So
You know-
just to confirm, what I'm hearing is that the speed in vehicles are probably the top issue.
Yes, there's other things to resolve, but safety is our biggest concern. And it is that issue. It's the blessing and the curse. It's this beautiful open area, but yet it also has that open thing. And we're just trying to figure out a way to preserve it and yet not endanger our dogs.
Yeah.
I do have one more safety thing that again, I forgot. So we have groups of children that come in big busloads to the park. And I know in the summer, and I know that parents are sending their kids on these buses to have these nice little nature things. But they are taking the kids and bringing them to the off-leash dog area, and I don't think parents have any idea that they're bringing them there
To eat lunch.
to have their lunch.
You know what a bad idea that
Or
is.
to, play games, and it's just like, okay, dogs are peeing and pooping everywhere. But also, I heard that one of the gals, because we always let people know, hey, this is an off-leash dog area, just want to let you know. And we've had people say, well, it's everybody's park, it's not just for the dogs. And I'm like, well, but it's like, if I was a parent and like I had a kid that was allergic to dogs, that's the last place I'd want them to be.
Sure.
And one of the kids said, I'm very allergic to dogs. And then the other girl goes, I'm scared to death of dogs. And the gal that was running this, or in charge of all these kids, she goes, well, I guess that's partly my fault. Like they need to know, it's like the lacrosse field that's not being used might be a much better place for them to go, but there's probably not good access to drop the kids off there. But like kids running around with sticks in their hands, dogs will jump and grab those sticks out of their hands. And so, it would be nice if like children like had to have maybe more supervision than 30 kids per 2 adults
Right.
or something. Or
Well,
that maybe
We've got to the
food,
next summer to worry
that
about
people
that.
don't picnic in the park or, in that area of the park or something, because dogs will jump up on the table and.
Oh,
feel
right,
like
forget your sandwich.
yeah, and the dilemma is, we have no idea who those people are. They come from all across Portland area to use our parks.
Yeah,
We have our boat ramps with camps and so signage might be able to help.
right.
And I guess from my perspective is taking thousands of phone calls over the years. When you talk about safety and what I see, I think one of the biggest things for dogs is how do you get people to keep their dogs on leash when they let them out of their car?
It's really hard to get.
Number one, and how do you keep them from running across the sidewalk into the parking lot off leash? So I think that's where a fence can be a conversation.
Yeah.
Not about reducing the space in any fashion, but maybe putting up something that will protect the dogs if that's what our concern is.
And we may get there. I mean, we
Right.
may, even though there's many people
I know.
that don't want it, we may get, that may be the only solution as we work through all this.
And I think people are opposed to the pinned up scenario, right? But even if we look at just a border fence on the areas, because the other thing is now that it's been cleaned out beautifully on the back of the dog park, I've seen dogs run out the back into the access road.
Right.
Where 5 years ago, it was so brushy, a dog couldn't survive to go through there. So, I mean, I think those are things I think of when I think of dog safety, and I know fences are controversial, but this isn't.
Yeah, and I think a fence, similar to the one that blocks off the garden. Yeah, that's kind of a good compromise, where it's not just that chain link.
And we're doing a big soft event early December to do a big, huge planting over there in all those places where they took out all those invasives. Now it's gonna take a while for all those to grow, but, there isn't just gonna be enough vacant
And
there.
I think, something like that, and even the entrance from the gravel parking lot over there where the buses probably park. And that's, the kids kind of walking, is that where they walk in the back?
They
No.
park in the
They park in the
regular.
regular one. I was thinking, even if there's just a split rail fence that kind of has an entrance where we could put more signage so that, I know there's a sign there, but we obviously need something to let leaders know.
There's nothing that says like, kids must be supervised or no food, I mean, different signs
Right.
at different dog parks show different things.
But those are unenforceable signs.
Yeah.
I mean, we can advise them it's a dog
Right.
park and unsafe soils or politely say something, but which I don't disagree.
Well, I think it would be great if, it's like if at least parents like, were able to say, I consent to my kids being here or something, but it's like if I had a kid that was allergic to dogs, it was like, we're bringing the kids to a off-leash dog area.
Yeah, you got to.
Like-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would be scary.
It's kind of like the people that bring dogs that don't have good manners. You guys don't get to ship them out either, but so you might like to.
I haven't read it for a while. Do those brown signs actually say it's an off-leash area?
It says off-leash exercise area.
Pet exercise.
Yeah.
And we could put more of those up and try and solve that issue. I don't know that it would, but we can.
Well, and going back to the fence, I think maybe if it was partially fenced, but not fully fenced, like along the road that comes in, if there was a fence, between the road and
The sidewalk in the field is what I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And so they can't run through there. I think that would be something that a lot of people would be okay with.
Some for you guys to talk to.
Yeah, that's a
people about.
we'll have to work through, because the other side, just so one of the points are, for the people that don't want the fences, there's plenty of options for people that want to take their dogs to fenced areas. One of the things that makes that park so unique is that you feel like you're out in the open. Rules and.
And if we can't do speed bumps, maybe we can do stop signs or something too.
Sure, we can certainly explore that, have our engineer. Even, test speeds in the parking lot.
That would be cool.
Educate people for sure, and see what happens.
I think it's a great idea, especially when you get to new information that 50% of the people are here. Huge.
You've been very generous with the time, thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Good info.
So Ken, you said there was somebody else that wanted community comments?
Yeah, Neil Brown, was here last month, but he wanted to
Right.
speak quickly, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, Neil.
Thank you. I'm Neil Brown. I live in Tigard and I have a connection with West Linn because I helped start the West Linn Rotary Club there. And I spoke to you last month. So I just basically came back to listen tonight and you're going to talk about a property that I'm somewhat interested in. And I wanted to point out that, of course, my cause here is to get a Veterans Memorial Park. So I was going to point out to you that tomorrow is Veterans Day, and some of us get a free lunch for that. And then, Chris, I was going to point out also that today the Marine Corps was 246 years old. They were founded in 1775, I think. Is that right? I can't see that from.
Yes, that is correct. 246th birthday today.
246, yeah, wow. Anyway, I'm promoting that West Linn do something similar to what we're proposing in Tiger. And I don't think I talked to you last time, did I? So I'll give you this.
Great, thank you, Neil.
But anyway, so if you have any questions, great. If not, I'll just listen.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's community comments. So then we should move up to items of interest from the board. Does anybody have anything?
Excuse me.
The only thing that I have personally is something we've talked about before, and maybe Ken knows when City Works is going to do the gravel parking lot at Mary Ashung. Looks like they've moved in some more equipment, but it tends to go in and out.
Yeah, John, it's a work in progress, slowly but surely. They had some delays with everything going on with their contractors and different things, so I keep telling them we're gonna be in trouble, but soccer's over now, so our big rush, we made it through it, so I will try and update you as soon as I can. I'll
Okay.
Eric again, I just don't have a great answer right now.
Okay. No problem. I'm always just curious, but yeah, you're right. The parking lot's not much used this time of year.
Yeah.
Okay, if the board doesn't have anything else, we should move to Recreation, Adult, and Community Center.
Right, it has been a very fun month in Parks and Rec. The Parks Department repaired the art and reinstalled it at Millhurst Heights. They rebuilt the bridge at Mid-Hill Park after it was damaged in the storm this February. We had a group of volunteers at North Willamette Park. We had Cole Rogers complete his Eagle Scout project at Willamette Park. And we had the Boo Drive-Through also at Willamette Park, where we had over about 1,000 vehicles attend and view our pumpkin displays and all of our other Halloween fun. It was a very neat event. We had a lot of fun putting it on. Next on the docket are our holiday events. We have the bazaar happening this weekend, the 13th and 14th. We have the tree lighting on December 3rd. It will also include coronation for the Westland Old Time Fair Court, as we have not had the fair the past couple of years. The parade is back this year. It will be on December 11th. And with that is also the Ugly Holiday Sweater Dash. And brand new event that will be coming out in the coming weeks is a polar plunge to take place on New Year's Day.
And we expect you all to be at the polar plunge.
Yep.
Burnett
It is proposed to be at Willamette,
Landing
Burnett Landing.
at the boat ramp. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you can't make it on the 1st, just video yourself the week prior. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think everyone has to be there in person. Should be pretty fun. We're pretty excited for that new event.
Yeah, so like
We'll
Alyssa
probably
said,
get really good turnout.
Alyssa said our rec staff's been busy. She didn't mention, we started our Mini Hoopers basketball. Like I told you, you may hear from our local school district, due to staffing issues, they are not able to staff their school facilities on weekends. So that's going to impact some of the youth programs that we're running. Some of our community partners are running throughout the community. So I guess the private sector lack of being able to hire is finally hitting the public sector. And so we're working with 212 children, grades K through 2, and their parents to reformat everything and keep them playing basketball midweek and not using Saturdays for all of our games, which is a big challenge, but we hope the community understands and we just want them to play. So let's.
The end goal is to get the kids out having fun, and that's what we're gonna do.
Great.
That's it.
That's all I got.
That's it. Okay.
That's great.
Next on the items is the Oppenlander stuff.
Yeah, Oppenlander. So next Monday, the 15th, Oppenlander is on the city council agenda. There's an agenda report up at the web site. And I'm happy to say that, after our last meeting, we talked about Oppenlander, what amenities might be needed if this is a successful bond measure and is transitioning to a park. Internally, we met, in the city, the powers that be all thought it was a great idea to include everything that you talked about. We talked about a restroom, small parking lot. We talked about ADA pathways. We talked about the possibility of a play structure of some type to be defined in the future, whether that's parkour, climbing walls, or something else. And we talked about security lighting for the park. So as I sent you, I don't know I know that you hopefully read the preliminary survey results I sent previously that had about 1,000 responses. And then I sent today where we had about 1,398 responses. It's still preliminary. It closes tomorrow night. But both of those, I can tell you, if you haven't read the second one, the numbers of support for the amenities that were in the survey were almost identical, even though we had 300 more respondents. 70% supported the restroom, 53% the asphalt parking, hard services, ADA, 56%, irrigation upgrades, 68%, play structure, about 50%, and lighting, about 70%. So this will be, finalized tomorrow evening. A new set of results with the final numbers will be put on the webpage, and sent out to city council for their meeting Monday. It does also include, you had talked about maintenance and operations. So in that report for city council is also information on what maintenance and operations is going to look like for our Parks and Rec department. As the amenities sit today at about $62,000. Which includes, just general inspections, garbage cleanup, mowing. It includes safety inspections, GMAX tests and things on the current artificial turf. It includes annual upkeep of the natural grass to keep it up at a higher level for its athletic fields use. And that gets us to about $62,000. So I just wanted to update you. That's going to go to council, and we'll see what happens. As we've talked, the only other thing that is in there that was really kind of proposed as we discussed it was if the property is purchased as a park, we will master plan it after the fact. If council puts certain things in there for money, we'll know we have money for certain amenities, but we will still come back and go through a community engagement master plan process to locate the restroom, locate the lighting, where do the pathways go? If there's a play structure, where does it go? We could still talk about things that might not be on the list funding because it's just a master plan. Someone had mentioned a dog park or, all different things that might go there. So that's kind of our vision. And I think, see how council approves things on Monday night as it goes forward. So.
So
Great.
Ken, is the, what's going in front of city council, is it the actual proposal that would then be put out for vote, or what's the item specifically for decision?
So, so the decision has been made to vote in May.
Correct.
So next step kind of right now is that a new appraisal will be done in December to decide the purchase price. So depending on how council or how comfortable council is, staff is recommending that the amenities that are supported on the survey be part of the purchase price for the bond.
Yeah.
Which off the top of my head, it was like 1.8 million, I think, total. So we don't know what the total bond would be yet until December, but so if council wants to do that, that's kind of what would be the outcome, or they could want more input, or they could wait till next month, or,
Right.
do what they would like to do. But that's kind of what the staff is recommending for them to discuss and possibly make a decision by then.
Right. So the staff recommendation is don't just buy the land, then come back around with, okay, how are we going to put in the park amenities?
Correct.
It's let's fund the land purchase and a certain number of park amenities to fully be determined at some later date, but
Right.
they would include essentially the things you.
Yeah, or more or less, depending on what they decide. But
Okay.
those were the items that you had discussed and we talked about that we feel were essential as it transitions,
Great.
if it does. So, yeah.
Okay. Great.
I hope that answers all the questions on Oppenlander. I can certainly try and fill in the gaps if the board has anything, comments.
I think it's good. I mean, I think that's what we talked about last time is those are the things that need to go into Oppenlander if we're going to have it as a park.
Yeah,
And I know our Parks Department has that well under control, and you guys know what we need and how to get it there. So I think the city council will respect that. And I would imagine if they're going to put it out for bond, that's going to be included.
Yeah, and I will just say, if you haven't looked at the results I sent today, there are 427 open-ended comments. That can be certainly a lot of input for that master plan someday down the road if we get there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, lots of ideas.
I was encouraged to see how many people were interested in an indoor recreation center and or pool. Whoop.
It's still on the bucket list, Jules.
I definitely noticed that too. So that was something that, especially getting an email from the city of Lake Oswego that they're going ahead with an adult or a community center, including a pool. I hope maybe greases those wheels a little bit for West Linn.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Anything else on that? All right. 8 on the list is the advisory report to the city council. That would probably all be on the computer that Vicky has.
Well-
I certainly don't have it.
Yeah, so I'll just, I sent this out, which I think is good, so you can, so those of you that are new can see, you know, what's been done in the past. And I will tell you, we might defer this. I mean, if you want to have some conversation, that's great. But there has been some conversations with our leadership team with the city, and we have a new city manager. And there may be some small, you know, tweaks to this as the city manager, I think, is communicating with city council to find out what they would like to get back from the boards, you know, the advisory group. So I don't want to waste a lot of time talking about this, and it gets changed between now and next month in some fashion. Does that sound correct, Jules? Mayor Walters?
Yeah, I think we're just trying to figure out how we can be maximizing your time and your talents, and making sure that, you know, all of the boards are working effectively, and how the council can be really reflecting the things that you're working on. And I mean, I think this board in particular does a great job. You guys are very well organized. Ken keeps, you know, an agenda going, a very good agenda going all the time of things to be working on. Not every single group is like that. So I just think we're trying to find a way to make it a valuable experience for everyone.
So Jules, you think it's best that we just kind of hold off on discussing things until we get more information from the city council on exactly what they want?
You know what? Let me check with Jerry on that, and then I'll reach out to Ken, and you can communicate
Okay.
next steps.
Yeah. My gut feeling is that this is going to change, probably in some format changes of what they want to see back from your group, probably in the next week or so, is my gut feeling, kind of. And that way, you know, I think looking at this and kind of thinking about it, and then when I can send out the new one as soon as possible, I mean, I think you'll have a head start, and, you know, I think one meeting in December, you know, we'll be able to get through it. It normally doesn't take, you know, 2 meetings. I think Vicky just had a good idea of letting people see it and start to, you know, understand, for those, especially of you that are new, what this even looks like. So.
Okay. That's good. Then we should go on to the last thing, at least on the agenda that I have, which is the Gobron project update for Ken.
Yeah, so it's been, Gobon projects are, you know, we've kind of checked off all the little boxes, and a lot of them now are a little more complex and slow, unfortunately. This month we worked on our city staff at Mid Hill Park, replaced the bridge. I think there was a picture in there. They did a phenomenal job rebuilding a bridge that needed. At North Willamette Park, it's finally done. All the work is done. I think I sent out some pictures over the past, maybe last month. I can't remember this month. You know, the concrete work, all the drainage has been fixed above the tennis court. You know, between a contractor with concrete and our staff rebuilding boulder walls, they did a great job. The other one that we're working on, we're soliciting, trying to get bids right now for our small gazebo shelter at Willamette. It needs a new roof. We'll be putting on a new metal roof that will match the restrooms that went in 2010. We're also working on the non-motorized launch and pathway there. As we've talked, the first piece is kind of the upland area, which is going to be improvement to the street from 12th to Tualatin Avenue, adding sidewalks on the inside, ADA pathway down to the beach, and parking where that old gravel piece is. As I've mentioned, it's a unique situation for roads, specifically streets that normally don't have a land use process because they're in the public right of way. This is different because all of this land is owned by Portland General Electric. So it's in private ownership, so it has to go through our planning department and land use, along with engineering, to make sure it's built properly. So it's just a much more timely process. We're trying to work with different groups in the Oregon State Marine Board to have initial conversations of what does non-motorized boat launch look like. Oregon State Marine Board has mentioned the possibility of a seasonal dock. Docks now are, non-motorized are lower to the river. We'd like to have, if we do that, we'd like to have ADA built docks for those with disabilities. So we're having those conversations. So when we get to that point, we'll hopefully be able to move it along. The Willamette River Waterfront Trail portion that we talked about, the extension of Fifth Avenue, we're still working with our partners at PGE and Willamette Paper. PGE is still, evaluating the easements that we like, and we hope to, by the end of November, we hope to get, kind of approvals from them for those to utilize the easements so that we can get a survey crew in and start to move that project forward. Non-GO-BOND projects out of our capital projects in our Parks and Rec budget. Over the past month, we had improvements or repairs actually to our skate park. Our skate park, in my opinion, is still our most used amenity in our park system on a daily basis. So you have what's called pool coping, and it has a grout in between the big tiles around the edge. It kind of flakes out. So we had a skate park repair company come in and fill those in, fill in some little cracks we have. We're going to have a lot of tree trimming done around the park in the next couple of weeks because everything just kind of grows out over the top of it and makes it very hard to skate. And we had some fence repairs done, a piece of wrought iron fence, and then on one side is a wood fence that we had repaired. On the GO-BOND side, the other GO-BOND side that kind of, affects us in some way, our department, is the facilities GO-BOND. Robinwood Station, which was approved, is getting ready to go to bid probably in the next, hopefully 45 days or so. We're just, it's been through land use, working with the architect. There were some engineering issues with drainage that we almost got resolved, had to do some downstream studies. Historic City Hall is the other one, which will have a pre-application meeting with our planning department here. I think it's November 19th. So the architect is moving forward with that plan and trying to move that project along also. Sunset Fire Hall, one of our heavily used buildings for classes, is about 99% complete with its new fire suppression system. That was mandatory to change categories of use, indoor sprinklers, basically. And the last thing, as part of our capital improvements program down the road, we're writing a grant that's due mid-December for the Cedar Oak boat ramp, which will, with Oregon State Marine Board, which will be a complete overlay of the old asphalt parking lot, new curbing, and we are trying to redesign it in a fashion that we can allow more non-motorized boat cars for parking during certain times of the year. That it's become so popular, and try and balance that salmon fishing where we have to have the trailers with summer non-motorized to allow more cars. So that's kind of where we are on projects. I can answer
Excellent.
questions if they're out there.
All right. We look pretty good.
You're really only 6:50.
Anybody? I don't have anything else. I'm good.
Right now, I don't want to waste any time. It just seems like
That's kind of quick. Back to working with Portland General Electric and reviewing the alternatives. Have they, if they're reviewing them, they seem to be open to at least exploring the idea. Is that a fair statement, or are they like,
no, I think PGE is completely on board with partnering with us on this. They, like us, have a process. So it goes through a committee And then I think it has to go to their property department, and the way, things are happening with meetings, it's just taking a while. But we haven't heard anything that indicates, that they're not on board. This isn't a good option. Great.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
I have one last thing.
Certainly.
I just sent out an email to everybody and to you as well, Jules. I have decided to resign from the board. This has been a really, really hard year for me, and I just don't feel like I have the bandwidth to give you guys what you deserve. That I have had some pretty major health issues and some pretty major personal issues. And on top of being on the front line of COVID for the last 2 years, I'm just kind of exhausted, and I just don't feel like I have the ability to give you guys what you deserve and what I've been able to give you over the last, I don't even know how many years that I've been on the board now. I have learned so much about the city and about city government and how all of these things work. And I'm very proud of all the achievements that we have made, but I need to step away from kind of some extra stuff right now, at least for the next little while, which is why I think I've missed the last couple of meetings, with my apologies. But I just kind of got to take care of me right now. I will poke my head in from time to time, and I'm still going to be yelling at off-leash dog owners and Mary S. Young on a regular basis.
Sarah, you've been a wonderful addition to this board. You made a significant difference in many things in this city. You should be very proud of that.
Thank you.
But you're right. I mean, what you're feeling is what many of our healthcare workers are feeling, and many of my friends, most of my friends my age are retired healthcare workers now, but the friends that I have that are in the system are burned out from COVID. It's just really hard for everybody. And I don't think anybody, unless they know folks or are part of the healthcare system, understands how hard it's been for people.
Yeah. And now going from, last summer we were heroes to this year we're villains, and all the conspiracies and the anti-vax rhetoric and all of those kinds of things. It's been tough not to just lose my mind on certain days.
I know right where you're at. Yeah.
And I am proud of all the things that we have achieved over the years and the friends that I've made and the friendly faces that I see. Thank you very much for letting me be a part of this. And I'm hopeful that some fresh eyes will continue this very valuable mission for this city.
Thanks. We're really going to miss you.
Yeah, Sarah, I just want to echo what John said. You've been such a terrific asset for this board and the city in general. I know you've put all of your heart and soul into this work. And I know at times it wasn't totally pleasant for you, and you persevered, and I'm grateful for that. So please take care of yourself. And when you're feeling ready, come back and serve us, help us or serve with us in any capacity you feel might be fun and interesting for you, because you have a lot to offer. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say also that I know we haven't met in person, but thank you for all you've done for the board and what you do professionally too. So thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. We'll talk. It's been years. Thank you so much. We'll get together when it's possible to say something.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
Does December's meeting fall on anything crazy?
I don't know what. I'm lucky when you're retired, every day's the same.
Yeah. Well, it's just December 9th. It sounds kind of normal.
Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad.
Okay.
And that's a Thursday, right?
Thursday, December 9th. Yeah, that would be our normal meeting. So,
Good.
okay.
All right, then I think we should adjourn. Everybody's got a holiday tomorrow, or at least most people do. That's a pretty fast meeting.
That's
John,
right.
you've done excellent work tonight.
Yeah, good job, Joe.
That's
It's
pretty
just-
epic.
You might have heard,